Here. This week, we have an additional guest, more than usual. I'm Greg, the Frequent Miler, and I have with me, as usual, my right-hand man, Nick. And today, joining us is our other author of our blog, Stephen Pepper. So
Hi.
Welcome, Stephen. Welcome, Nick.
Thank you very much, Greg. Thanks. Great to have you. Great to be here, Greg, and great to have you here, Steve. Nice to see you this week.
Good to see you guys too, and actually be part of this.
Yeah. So we were eager to have Stephen part of this conversation because we're all desperately getting the last minute plans together for our 40K to Faraway challenge. And so Stephen, as much as either of us is in there too, doing the same thing. And so we want to hear from him. But first, you've been experiencing a little fun of your own in travel. So can you tell us?
Might be good prep for some of the places we're going to be staying.
Yeah.
It could be. What happened to you this week?
So in case anyone who's watching this isn't familiar, my wife and I are traveling full time on a road trip around the US, and we made our way down from Winchester to Charlottesville this week, and we were just staying there for a few days, just because we had a little bit of time before I head off for the 40K trip. And so we checked into the Fairfield Inn in Charlottesville North. Everything seemed perfectly fine. I'm a late night person, so I was up late working, and then all of a sudden, I just see my wife's light on her phone, like flashing all around the room, going all crazy. And this was at something like 2:30 in the morning. And I asked what was up, and she said that she was feeling really itchy. She thought that she felt something on her. And then, sure enough, shining the light on the bed, she saw a couple of bed bugs. And so immediately came over, squished those.
They were on top of the sheets, or where
yeah. Well, we think that it was in the pillowcase, because she sleeps with her arm underneath the pillowcase or something like that. So she thinks because it bit her on
what a nightmare.
It bit her on her hand, and then down her arm and stuff. And so we think that that's where they were hiding out initially. And so that the biting is what woke her up. So I went downstairs,
and then the crawling kept her awake, huh?
Yeah. And so I went down to the front desk and mentioned that there were bed bugs in the room, and at first the person at the front desk seemed fine and was going to get us into a different room, but Shay went into that room to check the bed just to make sure there wasn't kind of a widespread infestation. And although she didn't see any bed bugs, there were a few dots of blood on the mattress beneath that we just figured, okay, that looked a little bit like where someone may have been bitten in the past and then bled through on the sheets onto the mattress. So we're okay, we're not too keen on having a room where someone might have been bitten by bed bugs. And so in the end, I went back down to the
right.
Yeah, so I went back down to the front desk to say, look, can you move us to a different hotel? And because Fairfield Inn is part of Marriott, I asked if we could stay at one of the residence inns that were nearby, because there were a couple there, and we have our dog with us, so it needed to be a pet-friendly property. So it was either one of two residence inns or an autograph collection that was category 6, which I figured they probably wouldn't want to put us up in, given that we were paying $80 a night at the Fairfield Inn. And so she wasn't really having any of that, but she got another room on the 3rd floor. She went.
Just a minute. What excuse did she give for not moving you to another hotel? That seems like a really reasonable.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's just that because it was night stuff. I don't know if she's just not authorized to do that. To be honest, this is the first time we've had anything like that, so I don't really know kind of what the procedure would be. And by that time, it was 2:45, 3 o'clock in the morning, and she said that the manager would be in at 8:30, and so we were okay, we'll just stay here, chat to the manager in the morning. But she wanted to put us in a different room on the 3rd floor. And so we were just that's a lot of hassle. We don't necessarily want to move. We don't really want to stay in the same room. And so initially we were just going to stay in the same room for a few hours, sit on the couch, not do anything, hopefully stay away from the bed bugs. In the end, we piled everything onto 2 luggage carts, just because we travel with everything we own. And so it takes 2 luggage carts to move it all upstairs. We moved to the room on the 3rd floor, stayed awake most of the night. We slept for a couple of hours on the floor, went down and chatted to the manager in the morning. And he initially had been really good and said that we'll call out like a third-party contractor to check for bed bugs, and then we'll go from there, see what happens, and that she can like look into us like going to a residence inn or something like that. But because we were only due to be staying there a few days, we weren't too worried about like moving elsewhere, so long as we weren't going to have bed bugs, and it didn't seem like there were any in the third floor room that we were given. So in the end, we just decided enough upheaval, like moving every 5 or 6 days anyway, having to then move again, and our dog doesn't like moving days too much either, so then it would be like moving like 3 times within one day to all the different rooms and then to a completely different hotel. So we just figured, okay, we'll just stay there.
Wait,
so
are you in the bedbug hotel right now?
Oh no, we've left. We're at my mother-in-law, so I'm hoping we haven't.
I thought I saw something crawling on your forehead there.
Yeah, there's something on your shoulder. No. So
That's
you
crazy.
stayed in that third floor bedroom for a couple more nights.
Yes.
Right? So here's how it would have went if it was my wife and I, right? If we saw those bed bugs, right, we would have been out the door, not of the room, of the hotel,
talking to them on the phone from the parking lot, right?
Yeah, exactly. You're like, we're checking into the whatever is like not the hotel we were in. Probably not even that. We probably wouldn't stay in that state. Just in case.
No, I'm pretty that my wife's reaction would be even more extreme if it's possible. So yeah, there's no way we would have been on the third floor. I commend you for your adventurousness, but yeah. So I'm curious, did you try calling Marriott corporate at all during that whole shenanigans?
I didn't know. Basically, the manager. This is our first experience having bed bugs, so I wasn't sure what the normal procedure was, and I shared about some of it.
The normal procedure is not to have the bed bug. Let's just make that clear.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, there's not a lot the hotels can really do about
yeah.
Now, how they treat you though when they're found, that they have everything they could do about. It sounds like they didn't do a very good job.
And that wasn't great. So in theory, we might have been able to move to a residence inn, but we decided to stay there because we figured that if they're in this hotel, they could just as easily be in the next hotel. And because we live in hotels, we're kind of like playing Russian roulette with bed bugs all the time, effectively, because we're going to be more likely to come across them. So we decided to stay, but then
and you didn't you didn't sleep like in the bathtub for the rest of the time, right? I mean, that's
no.
I mean, we would have definitely been in the car, if anything, I think. So
you slept on sheets where there could have been bed bugs. And did you wake up in the middle of the night thinking, feeling a little itchy?
Not after that. The night when the original room that we were in, we while we were trying to decide what we were going to do, like I was like sitting on the couch, like with my laptop, and then it kind of felt like there was stuff falling over me, even though there actually wasn't.
Because that so happened. So oh man, Nick, you're going to experience this in a few years. So
I'm sure
your kid comes home with a note from school or daycare or whatever that says there was lice.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, just reading that note causes your head to itch.
Right.
Like all over, and there's lice up there. It's awful. So yeah, I can't believe that.
There's no way I would have slept.
Little bugs crawling down your neck or anything.
Right.
But I guess you did when you're at the computer.
But I feel like
only when you're awake.
I feel like we ended up getting bonvoyed by the property though, because the manager said that they were calling out this third-party contractor to verify that there were indeed bed bugs. And so that's fair enough. They can't necessarily just take guess word for it. They might have like physically poured in like a little container and like poured them on the bed or something like that. I can understand them
for a free night at the $80, field or whatever. I mean, it seems like a stretch. I feel like they ought to be able to reach, they ought to be able to do something to fix that. I feel like,
but I mean, I was willing to give them the benefit of the doubt, but then that happened on Tuesday, and then they didn't end up having anyone come out until after we checked out today. So it's like 3.5 days after, because it was actually Monday night where this happened. Tuesday when we had spoken to the manager, so it took them 3.5 days to have someone come out to test for it.
Truly, they didn't want to spoil the bed bugs fun. Nobody wanted.
And then you never saw the bed bug inspectors.
I didn't know. So yeah, we checked out just before midday, and they were due to be coming this afternoon. So
So probably what delayed them is probably they had put other guests into your room. They had to wait till they checked out before they brought in the.
Maybe they've been trying to see who will last the longest in that room.
See the bed bugs that were on them.
Now I'm picturing 3 people with these big things on their back, just like Ghostbusters, but with like bed bug busters that come in.
There's a pool
going.
There's a pool going in the housekeeping department as to how long somebody's going to last in that room, right? I mean, each time, oh man, 3 a.m. I thought for sure we'd get somebody till tomorrow.
Well, it's funny that you talk about the housekeeping department because they were interviewing someone for housekeeping yesterday and they started today. So it seems like they might be short on housekeeping staff there, which might also
because they all quit.
Issue, yeah.
Quick,
they didn't want to get when they were like cleaning. They didn't want to take it home. So
they're bringing them home, yeah.
They were like, we could work at that other Marriott, the autograph collection. Screw this.
So I emailed the manager. So the manager had given us her card on Tuesday morning and said, like, if you have any issues or whatever, just email me. So I emailed her yesterday and said, hey, like, is there any update on the bedbug situation? And then never heard anything else. Went down to the front desk just before we were checking out and like just happened to bump into her then and looked like she was about to head out. So I asked what was going on and she told me that was when the bedbug inspectors were going to be coming later in the day. And then later on, my wife had to go down to the front desk and just ask them for something, and then the person on the front desk like rolled her eyes at my wife. And then when I checked out later on, I wanted to pay with some gift cards I picked up on daily getaways a couple of years ago and never got around to using. And so give my keys and say, just to let you know, I want to use some gift cards. And then she rolled her eyes at me because I wanted to use gift cards to check out. And so there's like that. And then the lady the night when we had all the bed
charging you anything. I can't believe they charge you anything for the stay.
And yeah, because I mean the stay itself, like including the pet fee, it was just under $400 for the 4 nights. And so it's not like it was a super expensive thing.
Well, and you didn't rest well. And the whole purpose of paying for a hotel is to be able to rest. So, I mean, yeah, it seems totally reasonable to me that they would have comped at least a night or two, if not the whole thing, like Greg said. So that's nuts to me that they didn't do anything. I think that she probably rolled her eyes at you because she had $20 on you lasting until 8 a.m. And,
you might be right.
She was very disappointed when you chose the other room. So she thought for sure you were going to go back and wait until 8:30. But I'm going
to follow up with the manager tomorrow, find out what's going on with the inspector. I have no idea. I don't know if they are able to verify it immediately or if they have to go back and run like some kind of like test or whatever. But then like once they verified that, then we should be able to talk compensation with them, because if it is verified, then it should be verified just because we physically had the bed bugs, we have the photos, I squished them in the sheets, they were there. But,
right. So I'm looking forward to hearing the results. What kind of compensation do you get for a verified bed bug claim at a Fairfield Inn? Let's move on, though. enough bed bugs. Hopefully, we won't have any bed bugs on our 40K to far away.
None of us really want to think about, right?
No. But before we get to 40K, just real quick. Last week, when Nick and I talked last week, we were talking about the Citi double cash, the rumors that Citi was going to let us transfer those double cash pennies 2 points at a 1-to-1 transfer ratio, which would be amazing. And Nick argued there's no way they would do that. And I said, you should never, ever underestimate Citi's ability to do things that are stupid. And then I think it was a day later, maybe.
Not even. Probably,
maybe 2. I don't know.
Yeah. No, about a day.
We found out it is, in fact, they are doing it. The transfers are 1-to-1. If I remember right, Nick, correct me if I'm wrong. My memory's not great. I think you said, I'll eat my hat if they're going to do 1-to-1 transfers.
Is that what you remember? Is that what you remember?
Is that not right? Is that why you're not wearing a hat because you ate
it? Done. Gonna hang my shame here. I was way off. Oh my goodness. I said 2 to 1.5 max, and clearly I was totally off. And that's why Greg is the front miler and I am the right hand man, because I I was way off on my prediction. But it's great to be wrong sometimes. So, so that is one hat that I'm happy to eat, the 2X Everywhere uncapped hat, especially to have that come out and happen at a time when Simon is still offering the $1,000 Visa gift cards with the $395 fee. I mean, my goodness, talk about just printing points. And with Turkish as a transfer partner, people have still been having a pain with Turkish, so I almost hesitate to even mention them positively, except that I was able to book something with them this week. And you know, when I look at the cost in creating those points with a double cash, you're talking about like $18 worth of activation and money order fees to generate points for a one-way economy class ticket anywhere in the US. So I don't know. I can't see the double cash lasting with those transferable points forever. But Citi, if you're listening, keep proving me wrong. Thank you.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's make it. They'll never do 3X everywhere. That'd be nuts. It'd be dumb. No.
All right, let's move on. We'll come back to the Citi Double Cash. I have no doubt in future episodes.
I'm sure we will.
But let's go on to 40K. So both of you guys published videos this week of what you're packing in your backpacks.
Yes.
Sure.
Now that was a lot of fun for me to watch. My wife said, "Oh my God, their backpacks are huge compared to mine." You know, you guys are
they're huge and they're heavy.
Yeah,
very heavy.
Are you guys not worried about just spending all day lugging this stuff on your shoulders? Are you guys are super strong?
Yeah, well, I mean, for me personally, like I've had, we've used that backpack when hiking before and had it filled up with water, and so that's been pretty heavy at times. And so, so hiking like 8-10 miles with that full of water, with a fair amount of that being uphill, then I'm hoping that I'm going to be good. There might be times where I'm on a bike or something like that, so I might have to find somewhere to put the backpack, because I don't think I'm going to want to be biking with that on. But other than that, I'm hoping that I'm going to be good, although it might be that by the time we're done with this trip, then I have back issues, in which case I might have to invoice you for the medical bill.
Hopefully you used a card that has medical travel insurance with it.
Yes.
And read my post from today.
And then
to find out which one
you should have used.
Which one you should have used, and which one could have given you medical evacuation. Ooh, whoever does that will go even further.
That's true.
3 miles.
So
that's a plan.
Anyway, hopefully we won't do that. What about you, Nick? I mean, you're lugging what looks like a mainframe around in your backpack.
No, you know, Steven said he does some hiking, and I spend a lot of time thinking about hiking, which makes me feel better about not hiking. So I feel like I'm in shape mentally to take on the challenge. I carried it around for about 5 minutes, and I was okay. So I'm sure I'll be fine carrying it around for like
with that kind of preparation. What could possibly go wrong?
Right. No, I'm not particularly worried, but believe it or not, I ordered some more things to put in there. So hopefully that's stuff
existing things that are in there.
Well, okay. In fairness, a few things to replace existing things, yes, and I really don't have that much space to add much, so I guess I'll have to be replacing a little bit. But you know, I'm getting excited. It's good. It's been fun watching the videos. You know, actually watching Steven's video, I felt like I feel now like I think I know where he's going, and I might be totally wrong. But I think I know where he's going, and I'm kind of jealous. Like I spent some time.
Let me get my poker face on, and then you tell me where you think.
No. I'm not even going to say it because I don't. Now I just said that I'll be jealous about it, so now people know I'm not going there. So no, I can't say it out loud. I don't want to ruin the surprise. But I think I know where you're going, and I think it's a really smart play. And I'm going to say I think I know where you're going because you've mentioned a bunch of times that you don't think you're going to go as far as we do. And then when I looked at what you're packing in your bag, and thought about budget travel in general, I think I know. I might be wrong, but let me ask you this. No, I'm not even going to ask you. I'm going to predict that from our starting point, Stephen Pepper is flying south. That's all I'm going to say.
I knew you were going that. I knew you were going that way when you when you said that about the not as far.
Not as far, but I think there's going to be and again, I could be totally wrong, but I think there's going to be a really good trip to come from Steven. So I'm excited to see what you do. I'm a little jealous. I spent some time thinking about how I could have maybe retooled my trip today if I had taken advantage of some other sweet spots. So I'm very interested. I'm excited because actually I think I could be wrong, but I think I know where Greg's going to go too. And so I have a feeling that we're not up in the same place. So
yeah, well, I have a feeling we're not either because I am not going. So your video, Nick's video, made me think he's very likely to go somewhere cold. There was just a little tip in there showing off that super warm jacket, right?
Or just planning to sleep outside
all
at night.
The powers of my deduction. I'm guessing. I'm going to go on a limb and say I think you're going to go somewhere in the polar circle.
In the polar circle. All right. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if I can find something polar. So I'll give it a shot. Well, Steven had warm stuff in there too, though. Steven had the warmer pants. Right, and he's got like the rain.
And I got the Mylar blankets
and the poncho and the blankets, or maybe he's just British. I don't know. I mean, he's just planning for rain all the time. But yeah.
So what gave things away in my backpack?
It's not even with you. I don't know if it's necessarily the backpack or things that you've written. Okay. I don't think it was necessarily the backpack for you.
I've given actually a lot of hints in the thing I've written if people really read between the lines and everything.
Well, and then I caught another hint that I'm not going to tell anybody about until later on. I caught another hint that later on when you find out, you're going to be like, oh man, yeah. But I'm not going to divulge it yet.
Okay. All right.
I noticed something in one of the videos you guys did. I think it was like 2-3 weeks ago. And so I've got no clue where Greg's going to end up. But at one point he referred to traveling 40,000 miles. And so I don't know if that was a slip of the tongue with 40K to far away, with it being 40,000 miles or points, or whether he, because of it being the 40K challenge, that he somehow put together an itinerary where he's actually going to be traveling 40,000 miles. So knowing how competitive you are, then it wouldn't surprise me whatsoever if it does turn out that you've managed to put together something where you will be traveling physically 40,000 miles. So I'm thinking that, and that's why I'm kind of ready to concede now to Greg or to you. Just
because it's like get you guys to fold your hands and then.
It's either that or he's going to travel for like 40 minutes. There were no clothes in that bag that he packed. So clearly he's not worried about being dressed at all. So I don't know if he's going to a nudist colony or if he's just going somewhere really warm where he's not going to need much. But
compression bags work really well. There was like a whole wardrobe in there.
But what are you going to do after the first time after you've opened it, though?
Yeah, I saw
you had like a little dust.
Packing a dustbuster.
You don't need any kind of vacuum or anything. You put stuff in the bag, you zip it closed, and then you kind of roll all the air out, and it compresses it. So I've actually adjusted things a little bit since that video. So I hope I'm going to have time to do a second video of what's changed. I've downsized my fanny pack.
That's good.
I didn't want to lose the nerd appeal, so I still have a fanny pack, but it's now a small, much more manageable one, and it could also easily be worn like over my shoulder as like just a little sort of man bag. I have added a few articles of clothing, but not much. It's still very, very small.
Well, I did add a Chromebook today, so I ordered. Well, I didn't add it yet, but I ordered a Chromebook. I followed Greg's lead on that. Not actually small and light as his, but I realized that I was in a different computer after all, and the Dell that I bought has to go back. I'm not happy with it, so I ordered an HP Chromebook actually. I did it strategically because this week, if you've been following along, actually just tonight, just a little while ago, we posted that Barclays has stripped benefits from a number of their cards. If you remember, just a few days ago, Citi stripped a whole bunch of benefits from their cards. And one of the benefits that seems to be going quickly is price protection. So now you have to guess, which credit card did I use to buy a laptop 2 months before Black Friday? Because clearly I had to be ready in case that price dropped, but I need the laptop now. So I had to use a credit card where I'd be able to buy it and then hopefully get my money later on. and I bought a Chromebook. Not that that's going to help you at all, but I needed to get a big Chromebook with a numeric keypad, and I finally found some. Anyway, which credit card did I use?
Does the did the rewards play into your decision making as well, or just the price protection?
Just the price protection. The rewards certainly did not play into my decision.
I don't actually have a good handle in my head of which cards have price protection anymore. So,
well, Stephen wrote about it the other day, and actually, he's the one who alerted me to the fact that this card still had price protection. I had totally forgotten about it.
Choice card?
Not the choice card. That one's losing it, but it does have it now. I think maybe, right?
Oh, one of the was it? I'm sorry. Was it one of the Chase cards that's a branded one?
Yes, it was.
IHG?
IHG.
The IHG, the old $49 IHG card.
That still has price protection.
Still has price protection. The new one also does have it, but I just have the old version with the $49 annual fee, and it still has price protection up to $500 per.
From what you said about rewards.
Right.
You can get fewer rewards than with that card.
No, horrible rewards on the purchase, but hopefully it'll be more rewarding in the sense that hopefully it'll drop in price and go on sale sometime between now and the holiday shopping season, and I'll be able to get the difference back. So that's the one. That's the one I used.
So you just bought it. You haven't gotten it yet?
That's correct.
And you're planning on it being your laptop?
Is it being delivered, or are you picking up in store?
So here's the thing. So this weekend, plans got thrown all up in the air. A lot of stuff has happened this week, and so spontaneously, I had to book a trip to Houston on Sunday. So I have to fly to Houston on Sunday, but my flight to DC is out of Albany on Tuesday. So I have to get, and I have this Chromebook coming on Monday. I have some other things I ordered for the challenge that are my Google Fi data only SIM is coming on Monday. So I have to be back home on Monday. So I'm flying to Houston on Sunday, flying back on Monday, and then flying to DC on Tuesday. So hopefully when I get home, at 8 or 9 o'clock on Monday night, I'm going to get the Chromebook set up and ready to go, in the next 12 hours or so. So, so kind of close. It's down to the wire, guys. You got extreme times call for extreme measures. I got to be ready.
So what you're saying
for those listening on the podcast, instead of seeing this, my mouth has been hanging open and in shock at this story, because I mean, setting up a Chromebook or any kind of new tech, usually you have to live with it for a while before you learn I didn't install this or that, or how do you do this other thing. And
it's very true.
And all the shortcuts on a Chromebook are really different as well, because I had a Chromebook 8 to 10 years ago or something, fairly soon after they first came out, and so it was really weird getting used to going from a regular laptop to a Chromebook, just because all the shortcuts and things would be so completely different. So in the end, I stopped using it after a while, just because I was so used to just using a regular PC. So
yeah, I'm really nervous about that, and I actually emailed Greg to ask him about how it's been working out, because making this switch totally and not having access to Windows, especially for the blog and stuff that we're used to, does make me a little bit nervous. But here's why for this challenge, and why I think I'm going to be happy with the decision long term. First of all, the battery life on this thing is supposed to be up 13 hours, and now I don't know, I never believe what they say, but I believe that means it'll get more than the 3 hours I've been getting out of the desk. So I think that'll be good, number one. Number two, it charges, I believe, off of USB-C, and what I've read is that, and this could be wrong, but what I read somebody wrote was that all Chromebooks that have a USB-C, even if they say they don't charge on USB-C, will charge via the USB-C port. That's what somebody said. Again, I don't know if it's true, but I'm running off that assumption because I bought a battery pack, a 26,800 mAh battery pack with power delivery that should theoretically charge the laptop. So now I don't have to worry about being near a power supply for couple of days probably, if need be. So that's going to be helpful for me, not just for the challenge, but hopefully long term productivity wise. I won't have to worry about being to a cord if I'm on a trip, on an airplane, without a power supply, without a place to plug in. It should work for a long time, and that'll work out well for long flights that we're all planning to take at the back of the plane in a middle seat that is 10 inches wide. So
and are you also like Stephen and me bringing two phones?
I was going to, and then I went to one, and then all day today I was thinking about bringing a second one. So I'm undecided on that.
The second SIM, the data only SIM, is that not for this?
Yeah, so I did get the data only SIM for this because the Google Fi SIM, well, Google Fi data works so much faster overseas, and my main phone is a T-Mobile phone. So I have the T-Mobile phone or T-Mobile SIM in it, and my wife has taken the Google Fi Pixel because it takes great pictures.
Okay.
So I'm not bringing the Pixel with me on this particular trip. I have other stuff to take pictures, so I'm not bringing the Pixel with me. So yeah, I'm considering using just the Fi SIM, switching out from the T-Mobile. But then, like I said, I got thinking about it today and thinking more and more that maybe I'll just bring a second phone and put the Fi SIM in the second phone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my second phone doesn't have any kind of cell or phone service or anything like that, so it's just purely gonna sit in airplane mode to preserve the battery and just be used for music for myself. So I'm just going to be running off off Google Fi on my main phone.
So, I'm thinking I'll keep it for I'll put it in an old phone for a hotspot, an old unlocked phone that I have here, and make it a hotspot.
Yeah, there you go. So I have my second phone with the data only SIM. It's that cheap Motorola I bought in order to get Google Fi originally, before they supported iPhones, and using that in a number of ways. Like, one is it's just my backup. So like if something happens to my iPhone, then I've got that one and I've got data, which is really all I need. I decided not to bring my Kindle. Like I've been, even though I bring my Kindle everywhere I travel, I decided this little phone will be my Kindle. And so I practiced last night reading from it. I actually hate that experience, but
because you have to swipe every 2 seconds just because you only fit a few words on the screen each time.
And also it kept, like, my palm would hit something, causing it to do something other than what I wanted to do. And it's my media player, like you talked about. So that's what I'm thinking with my phone. And I'm going to keep it kind of hidden in my backpack, and in the very unlikely chance my backpack gets stolen, I can do like the find phone type of thing, and I should be able to. I don't know what I would do, but
well, no, that actually just came in handy for me on this last trip that I took. We were in Lake Tahoe and we'd been in a playground with my son running around, went somewhere else, and then realized that we couldn't find the Google Fi phone, the Pixel. And so I thought my wife had it. She thought I had it. Neither one of us had it. And so we panicked and drove back to the playground looking for it. And sure enough, even though I don't ever remember enabling the Find My Phone feature, I was able to go online and to make it ring a sound. And of course it was in the car with us the whole time, which
nice.
Great. But
nice and at least you didn't have it on silent though. That's the worst thing, is when you're
even
trying
if
to
you
call
do,
the phone.
even if you do. So if it was on silent mode and we called it, it wouldn't work. But with the like Find My Phone feature, which I was able to pull online with through my Google Fi account, you can make it ring even if it's on silent.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
So I didn't even know that. I just I like through Google, like just search for like Find My Phone, and it'll find it like with GPS or whatever. Like it'll show it on a map, but I didn't know you can make it do things as well.
Yeah, it showed it on the map, and I was like, okay, well, by that point we were back at the playground, and so I was like, okay, well, it's here somewhere, thinking that we were going to get out and search the playground with this phone, and then I was like, oh, there's a button to make it play a sound, and I read it, and it said,
can you make it play things like, hey, stop. A drone is flying above you and is going to fire if you don't put down that backpack.
I didn't see that option, but maybe you can customize.
They really should add that. I don't know why they wouldn't. Hey guys, so I'm flabbergasted by Nick's story about what he has to do over the next few days, because personally, I'm curious if you guys have this too, but I started making a list of the like last minute things that I need to do before we go. And it ranges from really little things like, don't forget to trim your fingernails because I'm not bringing a fingernail clipper, to big things like find a place to stay in city X.
Right. That's on my list too.
Yeah. So do you guys have that? Are you guys sweating the list?
I just got my hair buds today ready.
I got my haircut.
Yesterday. I'm behind. I need to.
But yeah, I still have probably a reasonable amount of travel still to book, because I haven't used up all of my cash and or membership rewards yet. So that's all that I'll say on that matter. But, so I'm still trying to decide on my strategy with this. I have a general strategy in mind, but how I go about doing it is a whole other matter. So I'm trying to decide what's going to be the most fun, what's going to be the most cost effective, and interesting, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely in the same boat. No, I'm not in the same boat. I do not have money and miles left, but I'm in the same boat of, wow, I need to book a place to stay in this city and that city and like almost all of the cities. So, so yeah, I've definitely been in that boat and actually spending time in the last few days Googling the different stuff about like how I get from the airport to where it is I want to go and where I can walk and have access to other things, because I really didn't spend as much time as perhaps I should have on those things in planning the cities that I was going to visit. I just had faith that I'd be able to make it work, and I probably will. But yeah, so I had planned this weekend that I was going to be home alone and have the house to myself and a nice quiet weekend with no distractions, so that I would be able to just like put my nose to the grindstone and get that stuff done. I got some stuff I want to write about that we'll publish eventually when we start publishing all of the story behind booking the trip. So I wanted to get a head start on writing that stuff out before I even go. So this little thing, like this little flight to Houston, kind of like threw everything.
Wow. Yeah.
threw a big wrench in things. Suddenly
I would find that so
not
stressful.
going that
I can't
way.
believe it.
So are we allowed to like engage in shenanigans and sabotage each other's trips? Because if Nick's going to be away, I'm free Monday, so I could head up to Albany, fly up to Albany.
Oh no!
Intercept
up
his
my
Chromebook
pitch.
and Google Fi SIM and stuff like that. Do a runner back down to DC,
Yeah.
and bring it
trouble.
along on my trip.
So here's the
And
thing.
have the
You
thing.
are allowed to sabotage his trip, but not in that particular way, because the Chromebook is how he's going to be blogging as he goes. And
So that one you're not allowed to
that
do.
hurts all of us.
Right.
Yeah. Now, adding your little bed bugs to wherever he's going to end up or into his backpack, totally legit.
I would appreciate you keeping your bed bugs to yourself, Mr. Pepper.
Actually,
put those in a jar.
That might be how you could get free places to stay everywhere.
Totally going to say, put those in a jar.
I can't believe I didn't think to keep them to try that out.
I mean, you could have at least kept the dead ones to be able to toss those, and then be like, "Look, I just killed it." It would have worked. No, and I also have a list of other silly things, like, for example, reset my password on my GoGo Wi-Fi passes, because I need to reset that because I haven't used them in forever. I don't use them very often, but I want to make sure that I get set up with the GoGo Wi-Fi passes. I got to make sure that my wife has all the information that she'll need on this end. And blah blah blah. So yeah, I mean, I have a list going of things that still need to be accomplished, and a lot of those are silly little things, but they're important for the trip. Also, Steven's done a lot of research with places with showers and the priority pass lounges and stuff. So I got to figure out where I can take a shower and get clean. I got to go back and recheck his post to make sure that that I won't be smelling too rough on my airplane rides here and get thrown off the plane. I was a little worried the other day because my dog got skunked, and so I was a little worried that I was going to get thrown off the plane for smelling like a skunk on day one. But luckily, I think we've got that tamed. So quite a list of things, though. Still, what are you nervous about, Greg? I mean, I know you said that you got a list of things, some of them easy, some of them difficult. You sound a little bit nervous. I mean, what are you worried about? You got this, right? 40,000 miles.
For me, as you probably know, if you read my post about the rental car, I'm nervous about the budget. So I am I'm counting pennies now. It's no longer dollars, it's like, how many cents is that going to be?
So do you know how much gas is where you're going to be driving that as well?
That's
that's something I had to investigate, because I've just booked a rental car for one of the places I'm going to be. And so gas isn't as cheap as it is here where I'm going to be. And so
what I don't know, though, and maybe you do, I don't know exactly how many miles I'm going to be driving. So I had to guess how many gallons of.
That's true. Yeah, I've got no.
Depending on where we are.
To a large SUV.
So yeah, the car that I'm getting, it's to replace the long bike ride I was originally planning on doing, because there's something that I wanted to do in one of the places I'm going to be. I'm trying really hard not to give anything away by accident. And so I was going to be doing it by bike, just because that seemed to be one of the most economical ways of doing it in order to get around, just because it seemed like it was going to be too far to walk. But when I was mapping it out on Google Maps, it turned out to be about 45 miles or something like that, which it's been a long time since I've been on a bike, and I don't know if I've ever even done a 45-mile bike ride before, and so I was feeling a little bit nervous about that, especially because
I've done a couple of 20-mile ones, and I was feeling a little bit of the bicycle seat just thinking of it.
Yeah, and I'd be renting the bike by the hour, and so that. I'm sorry?
Were you worried about the steep hills as well?
You're not going to get me there.
The mountain cliffs. Well, no, you know, one of the things, though, I'll say that I've really enjoyed about the challenge, especially in the last week, is we all seem to be slight procrastinators on planning our stuff out here, is that I haven't planned a trip in this way in a very long time, in the sense that these days, because I'm using miles for flights and I'm using hotel points for hotels, I'm usually picking my hotels by chain and where I can use points, and they're typically pretty nice places. And since I'm not spending my money on the flights and the hotels, I don't usually worry about how it's going to cost to Uber to the hotel, or you know, where I'm going to rent this or that, or if the car rental is $3 cheaper, if walking 2 miles will save me $2 on a bus like Greg. But now I am, and it's kind of fun because it's a reminder of the way I traveled long before I discovered this whole hobby, and it's kind of exciting looking for those ways to kind of cut the budget, because I think this hobby attracts people who like that stuff. You know, we're all kind of couponers at heart in some sense, and so it's been a nice kind of returning to that. I don't know, you guys feel the same way?
Well, it's been weird as well, because I'm usually pretty organized with stuff, and so the fact that I can be a procrastinator as well, but the fact that I've procrastinated this long with the trip coming up so soon, like when we get back from the trip, I'm just trying to go through my mind to make sure I'm again not going to give anything away. When we get back from the trip, I'm trying to get back for Bridge Day in West Virginia, which is, I think it's like the 18th or like October 18th or 19th or something. And so we're going to be in West Virginia for like a month or just over a month. And I've got all of our accommodation booked in different places for there. I'd been researching what we're going to do in Maryland. After that, we already have 2 or 3 places booked for Tennessee at the end of the year. But I still haven't booked into the trip just because I can't quite decide on what I want to do. So it's tough.
Yeah.
And I've never looked up. Where can I walk to from the airport? That's not something I have ever looked up before.
Oh yeah, I just did that today, and it's one of those where you read like people's comments about like, no, it's all highways all around it or whatever. And it's like, maybe I won't walk from that one. But
because that was something I had been looking into before. Is like, how viable is it to walk to? Because I would have been happy like walking an hour or two from the airport, but then I don't know how realistic that would be, because if you would fly
right airport.
Yeah, because I'm just trying to imagine like when I fly back home and fly into Heathrow or something like that. There's no way I'd want to be walking from there for a couple of hours just because of like I think it's the M4 that takes you up to Heathrow. But yeah, I wouldn't want to be trying to walk anywhere around there, because I'm not even too sure if there are even sidewalks or anything like that, or how easy it is even to the airport kind of compound.
Right. Plus it's confusing because all the cars are driving on the left side instead of the correct side. You don't know
watch out.
On the correct side, you mean?
On the correct side.
There's the right side and the wrong side. Come on.
Ain't it the truth? Well, one of the things that inspired me on this, and I had hoped to be able to do, but then didn't plan out my trip this way after all, was Brian Cohen at The Gate wrote a post a while back about how to walk to the Las Vegas Strip from the airport. And so I think there's a little dicey section in there where, you have to like go where the sign says not to go or something, if I remember correctly. But he had pictures.
8 lanes of traffic or
something?
Right,
exactly. It's doable. He lived to write about it. So I figure that it's safe enough anyway, that it can be done. So then I became interested in, figuring out, well, can I actually walk, even though it doesn't look it? And I think, if you looked at the Las Vegas airport, or if you asked somebody, I would bet most people would tell you it's not possible to do, but Brian Cohen showed it could be done. So that's what I've been looking for.
So that would have been perfect too. I looked into this too. We had emailed about it, but we hadn't told our readers about it. That several, I don't know if all 3 of us did. You look into Vegas too, Stephen? Or maybe it's still in your plans. I don't know. No. He's
I
not.
was trying to decide when to give anything away.
That's South. I can't say.
I was thinking we could put it all on red and double budget.
Put it all on red.
That would have been pretty amusing, actually, just to do that. Like, get there on some kind of like $50 Spirit flight from DC, and then just put it all on, Live Black, and then see where it goes from there.
That would be hilarious if one of us did that. That would be hilarious. But no, I mean, I was basing it on Nick's. Nick had that post about the status merry-go-round, about how you could easily get the status you need for what is it, like $100 free meal, and there's a way to do that so you get meals all day long with the all day buffet thing.
That's right.
And so you could go there, you could eat like a king, and then they also have some complimentary rooms, and so if they happen to have them when you needed them, we're talking about staying in very nice accommodations, eating food all day long for free, all of this for free, and if you could walk from the airport as well, that would be amazing. But I couldn't fit that into my plans, and it sounds like you couldn't either, Nick.
No, it was originally in my first plan, but then things took off from there. So, and I've been looking at so many different plans and so many things that I've thought, oh, that would be awesome to do too. And of course, got to pick and choose a little bit. So, and I don't know about you guys, but there are also some things that I'm disappointed about that I can't do, like some of the places where I'm going, and I think, oh man, if I'm going there, I'd love to do this, but of course it's not going to quite fit in the budget. So this trip is also going to kind of, I think, inspire me to want to go back again to some of the places that I'm visiting, because I'm not going to be able to do everything this time around. But one of the, again, comforts that I enjoy of using miles and points is knowing that I could go back again if I have to. So I'm very excited about this 40K trip.
Yeah.
I was just thinking today that I wish I built in a trip to Germany along the way. So spoiler alert, I'm not going to Germany because I realized that it's going to be Oktoberfest while we're there, and so that would have been a pretty cool thing to do. I don't know how much that would have completely messed up our budget by trying to go to Oktoberfest and not spend a lot of money, because what's the point in going to Oktoberfest if you're not going to have several beers? But I figured that would have been quite a fun thing to have done along the way. So it's probably good that I didn't end up in Germany.
And here I'm counting on Greg going to Oktoberfest and missing his flight. So
I'm not going to say whether I'm going to Germany or not.
And I'll say this, that there are no free rooms available this week, kicking off on Wednesday, right? And Rio in Las Vegas this Wednesday would be $15 as a Caesars Diamond member with no fee, which of course, as Greg said, you can get that Diamond status by matching. So you can match to Wyndham status and then match from Wyndham to Caesars, get yourself for $15 this Wednesday. So it's not quite free, but pretty darn close. And then if you did the $100, you also get a $100 celebration dinner. So man, for $15 to have gotten a room, free transportation from the airport by foot, $100 meal, I'm starting to rethink my trip already.
Yeah.
Well, that had briefly crossed my mind to do that before, to get some accommodation along the way. But my parents are coming to visit from the UK next year, and because they're coming over so they can see the Grand Canyon and join us kind of out west for 6 weeks, they're probably going to be flying into Vegas. So I figured it could be fun to have both Shay and I do that beforehand, and so that way we can go out for a nice meal for free. So I'm actually going to be saving my status match for that point, unfortunately. But that would have been a great thing to do for the. That'll be
fun to hear about. So speaking of status matches, did either of you guys do status matches or challenge type of things in order to position yourselves better for aspects of this trip?
Steven?
Possibly.
Possibly. Very good.
Well, I have done one status match, but that would be towards a potential thing that I might still be yet to book. And so I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to be taking advantage of this status match yet, but I figured I'd get that done now just in case.
And are you willing to tell us what you matched to?
No.
No, okay.
Because, I think if I was to disclose that, I think you would probably be able to guess what my potential plan might end up being. So
I'm
going to keep it simple.
He matched the Virgin Galactic status, and so we know he's going to be flying into space.
So you must be talking about matching to sort of a status that would give away. Right.
Away.
Right. So it's got to be something that's only located in one area. All right, so now we're going to be thinking about this a little bit.
Interesting.
And see, I think Greg is asking because he knows that I had the Hyatt Explorers match to American Airlines Gold, and he knows that I already did it. So he's trying to figure out if I'm flying American, hoping for an upgrade with my gold status on American. So I'm not that hopeful, and no, it's not going to do me any good on this one. So
and you didn't do any other matches or anything like that for
no, not particularly. No, not. I mean, I'm not staying anywhere where a match is going to be helpful. Not exactly for this trip. That's as much as I'm going to say. Also,
Okay.
so no, I haven't. But no. With that, you, Greg, did you do any matches for the trip?
So I did. I don't think I've hidden the fact that I am booking things with United Miles.
Right.
Not everything, but I am booking some stuff. So I thought it can't hurt to have some status, and
right.
I looked up the status match, the public status match rules that United has public, and from my Delta Diamond, it looked like I would get United Platinum, which is good, but it's not their top. So their top sort of reasonable one is 1K. That's sort of more the equivalent of Diamond status. And one of the reasons I wanted this was simply in case I had an opportunity to be at a Foreign Star Alliance lounge where I couldn't get in with priority pass. So so that would give me that, I believe, the platinum status would. But anyway, what actually happened? They actually gave me a challenge for 1K instead of platinum, so it's even higher level. And all of a sudden, so one of the theoretically nice things about that is I can change awards for free, altogether, whereas platinum status you could change them for free until 60 days before your flight. And so by the time I got the status match, it was it was too close. But this is a curse, actually, because all of a sudden
now you can rebook your entire trip.
Everything, yeah.
Everything is flexible.
I don't need this extra stress, what if I rebook everything and do it? No. So
I love it. I love it because I can imagine how that'll rack at your brain every day too. Where you're like, oh, I wonder what if I could do this. And
I've finally forced myself to just stop. It's locked in. I think the best part of it will be if anything goes wrong, I should be able to get someone really working to help me, and that I think is the most likely thing that will actually be of use during the trip. I actually don't. There might be a Star Alliance lounge or whatever, but there's not a lot of situations where it's critical for me to have that I think in my plan.
Well, so what I'm interested in here is you got the match, and the match gave you the benefits immediately. You didn't have to do a challenge in order to.
Yeah. So the way it works, and Delta does this too, is they give you, I think, 90 days or whatever of that status, and you have that time to fly the 30,000 miles or whatever it is for the challenge.
Yeah. So you've got the time to fly the. You think you're gonna qualify for the 1K?
So no, but this is one of the things that made me rethink my plan. So now I don't really have a lot of use for 1K, but United just came out with his new rules about their about their upgrades that you get as a 1K. And it used to be that they would give you certificates that only work on sort of not full fare, but they wouldn't work on the heavily discounted economy fare. And so you couldn't upgrade to business class from those heavily discounted economy.
But if you paid a full fare economy class to fly from, say, Houston to Albany today, then you could use those.
You could. Now I didn't get any of these upgrade certificates for the challenge. Okay. Don't get me wrong. Talking about if I met the challenge, then I'd get them. And that didn't hold a lot of appeal to me because the Delta ones work on any fare. But they've changed now to a points-based system that is going to start mid-December, where you just use double points in order to upgrade from the a highly discounted fare. So you can upgrade from any fare, and suddenly it becomes more interesting to me to have that status, because it actually sounds worthwhile. You could buy the cheapest fare, and that would also, the flying that cheapest fare would help you requalify for the next year, and so on. So it made me interesting. So that was why I started rethinking, like, what if instead of these award flights, I cancel them, redeposit the miles, get my money back for the taxes, and I use my Chase points to buy United flights, and I qualify for 1K. Wouldn't that be a really cool 40K adventure?
40K to 1K.
40K to 1K.
40K to 1K. That sounds like a real big devaluation, actually.
Yeah.
Sounds like something United might. Well, it sounds a little bit more like something Delta would do.
Or Marriott, maybe.
Anyway, so I got all enamored by that idea until I realized that even though I can get my United miles back, I can't get my Chase points back. So I've already traded in those Chase points for United miles, and so it would be wrong by the spirit of our adventure that we're doing to pretend that the United thing didn't happen. So I'm not going to do
that. Interesting, though. Very interesting how that's worked out for you. And so what did you have to show in order to do the match? This airline matching thing just came up in Frequent Miler Insiders just yesterday, the day before. Somebody asked a question about it. So what did you have to show in order to get the match with United?
I think just a picture of my Delta profile with my status on it, or no, they said I think it just says send a picture of the of your elite status card, which I don't actually, I toss them as soon as I get them. So I just took a screenshot of the app that shows a virtual card, and that worked.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah, I'll be telling you my screenshot.
I'm more thinking about what I could do that might work out for the trip after all. Maybe you inspired me, Greg. So
yeah, so it often takes a week or so before they will match you. Just a little caution there.
Yeah, we'll see if that's enough time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good inspiration as we run into the 40K challenge.
Yeah, so we are getting long here, but I do have a question for Steven about his tuna fish.
Yes.
I have a lot of questions for your tuna fish, but
so Steven's post today showed everything in his backpack, and one of those things was about 12 things, which are a whole bunch of packets of tuna fish, right? Different flavored.
15 in total I've got, yeah.
15, okay.
15 packs of tuna.
15 packets of tuna in water, right? In like flavored water.
Can you bring that through security?
Well, the
that
thing
was
is,
one of the questions.
They're not really in water though. Like there's a tiny bit of moisture in them, but it's not like cans of tuna where it's like in water. You open it up, there's like a tiny bit of fluid inside, but otherwise it's just tuna that's already mixed in with whatever the flavoring is. And so I've got like jalapeno, I've got sweet chili flavor and things like that. So someone actually commented on the post that I wrote today about it, asking if I've ever tried doing this before getting it through security. So it could end up being that all I'm eating is mayo tortillas, basically, because that's all that I'll have to go in them. So I've got like a few
have those mayo packets, and now you're one little
to go with it. So I could end up being very sad after, like, before even my first flight. So
tell me this, when you rip open those packages, doesn't water drip out if you like?
Only kind of like a tiny bit.
Just a tiny
water.
bit.
Like, yeah, it's not like a regular kind of tuna thing. Like you need to be careful.
I hope you video this conversation with the TSA agent.
Yeah, yeah. I'll open one in front of him and just prove that it's not full of water. So
just a little water.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it is like a little bit of a risk, but because I don't care for protein bars and stuff like that, so otherwise I'll still have the wraps. I've got like Nutri-Grain bar type things, or like Nature Valley bars. And so I'll have some kind of sustenance, but it may just be that I'll have to end up spending a bit more money on food if I need to. And because I've still got that in the budget, because I haven't finished booking everything yet, then I'm not going to be going starving. And so, yeah, I'm just hoping.
Amex has various ways of like paying with points for things like food or merchandise or whatever. So
you should definitely do that.
I recommend you use up all your points doing that.
Totally agree.
That works out incredible value, yes.
I mean, it wouldn't be enjoyable then.
Yeah. So, I think that's the only time you'll ever hear that advice on Frequent Miler.
That's right. So just a little warning now, it might not be a factor because you said there's not that much liquid in your pouches, but I happened to, this summer, on one of my trips, I brought it wasn't tuna, but it was like a chicken thing, but it looked similar to your tuna packet.
Yeah.
I brought it on my trip, thinking that, I thought that was like a great idea to have like real proteiny, type of thing, have something really close to a real meal as opposed to a protein bar. I never got around to eating it on this trip, but when I got back from the trip, it was like leaking in my luggage. And so now I saw that most of your tuna packets were in a Ziploc, so I didn't have that. But it looked like you had some that weren't. So
I had a few that weren't actually, that couldn't end up fitting in there. But that's a good point. I might stick them in a Ziploc bag.
I recommend
that. So question.
That could get dicey.
So you said that you had brought the chicken pack along with you. Was that to Denali?
No, to Hawaii actually.
Okay, so did that go on a flight in a text bag or a carry-on?
Carry-on. Yeah, no, there were no issues.
Okay, so I should be good.
Well,
hopefully, if it's a similar kind of deal,
flying all within the United States, sure. But different countries have different sensitivities to things.
That's a good point.
I remember in I think it was Ireland getting my whole bag, like everything pulled out so they could find some toenail trimmers, and you have a lethal weapon.
Right. Driving back to the United States once, they confiscated a banana that they saw in the seat of our car because it didn't have a sticker saying where it came from Canada to Maine. So
yeah.
Have you seen that Hidden Valley Ranch ad where the lady's got the bottle of ranch dressing in her carry-on luggage and she has to take it out and they say, well, you can't take that through, and so she just chugs it in line at the TSA security check.
Tuna.
Yeah, so I might just have to do that and then hope that satisfies my hunger for.
I have not seen that, but it reminds me. This happened to me just last weekend. I was driving to the airport. I'd been on a quick trip, just an overnight. I had a rental car. I was about an hour away from the airport. I'm driving to the airport, and I was sure I had plugged into my Google Map to stop at the gas station right before the airport, but I'm pulling in and I notice, oh no, I'm actually going into the airport. I messed up. So by some miracle, just talking to Siri, I said, navigate to the closest gas station, and she did, which was great. So this is a kind of long story. I'm going to try to make it quick though, because I know we've run over time already, but this is related to the 40K. I'll get there in a moment. So this car had its gas tank on the right side instead of the left side that I'm used to, but I knew that because for anyone who doesn't know this, you could look down at the gas gauge in your rental car, and it shows you a little arrow pointing left or right, and you know which side of the car the gas tank's on. So I knew that. So I rush into the gas station. I'm not that late from what I need, but I'm 15 minutes behind now because of this diversion. And so I pull up to the gas tank on the correct side. I get out. I do my credit card. It's all authorized. I try to put the pump in there and it won't go.
Diesel?
It's diesel. There you go. Cancel transaction. How do you cancel? There's no cancel buttons. Anyway, I finally figured it out. Drive around to the next pump like that. Get out of the car. Oh, now I'm like, the pump's on my left side.
On the wrong side.
So it was easier then to get back in the car, drive to another pump so that it's on the right side again. And now I'm like, oh, I better not put in that first card because it might get declined for like duplicates. I put in another card. Machine's not reading it. I'm doing it over and over. Get out a third card, finally works. So that all's fine. I go to the airport, and I'm going to skip the section about how there was like no traffic anywhere around except one intersection that I needed to turn left to get to the rental car company. So it took me another 15 minutes just to turn left. Get into the rental car. The dropping off the rental car was fine. Get into the rental car van or bus to drive to the airport. The driver stops at the intersection. He has the right of way. He stops at the intersection because he knows how hard it is for everyone else to turn left. He waits for 15 cars to turn left.
Nice guy.
Thank you very much. And then where were you when I needed you? But then he goes on, get to the airport. Yay, there's hardly any line at TSA pre-check. There is the little old lady who can't figure out how to navigate the maze of those ropes, but
They do get
she eventually figured out her way. And we get through security. Didn't take very long. I go through the belt, and my backpack gets pulled aside. What happened? You know my 40K to Far Away branded water bottle?
Water bottle. Oh no!
I forgot to empty it.
Got to empty that out, huh?
Forgot to empty it. So I said, well, can you just pour it out? No, it has to either get thrown away, the whole bottle, or I have to escort you all the way out of security, and you have to empty it and come back through. So I'm looking at the bottle. I'm like,
so you're not even allowed to drink it there and then?
You didn't get, I don't know. I mean,
I
I wasn't like in a state of mind to think through all the questions.
Yeah.
But
I have a solution for you. Say it's for the baby. They will let you bring anything through if you say it's for the baby. It's crazy. It's
when you have a
insane.
baby with you, it probably helps with that argument.
It does. It does help. Yeah, it's a little hard if you say it's for the baby and there's no baby. Then they might escort you to the
It's
security.
for the old
department.
lady with me.
So I had him escort me all the way around. I didn't want to lose that water bottle.
Yeah.
It's too cool.
That's
Anyway,
good.
I did make it to the flight, so it was all okay.
That much is good. I look forward to having my 40K water bottle. I hope that I have the same commitment to the bottle that you did.
I hope you do too. I don't want to see it get thrown away at a checkpoint.
Nor do I. I will be sure to check before I get to the
But if
checkpoint.
it does get thrown away, you have to make sure you're video recording that whole situation somehow.
I'll be sure to find a way to record that altercation.
All right.
I will fight tooth and nail for my 40K water bottle. But yeah, you know, and I said it jokingly, but I really am amazed traveling with a baby at how they will just let you bring water bottles or formula bottles, or I mean, all of the rules seem to go out the window, which is nuts to me. That
So
you
it
could
would
just
help
pour
you
out your
a
bottle.
lot to bring your son on your 40K.
It would.
challenge.
It
So
would.
you should really do that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that suggestion a lot.
Might help out your wife too.
No, don't get too excited. Don't get too. I mean, I'm flying solo here, so much as I would love the company, I'll be flying solo.
All right, guys. Hey, it's been great. Now Nick's got to do the wrap up here.
Well, thank you guys all very much for joining us today. Always great to have you here. If you're just tuning in, of course, if you're watching us live on Facebook, you can just roll back to the beginning and watch the video. But if you're checking this out later on and you'd like to download it, you can head over to YouTube if you want to see the video, or it'll be available in all your favorite podcast formats. You can find links to all of that stuff in the Week in Review post that'll post tomorrow morning. That'll be September 28th, tomorrow morning, Saturday morning, September 28th. So you can check it out there. Check us out online at thefrequentmiler.com. That's our site. Again, frequentmiler.com. You can find us on Twitter at Frequent Miler. You find me at Nick at FM. And on Facebook, you can join our Frequent Miler Insiders Facebook group, where you can ask questions and help others and get help from others in our group. A very active group of travelers who are interested in helping each other find ways to maximize their money and miles. So check us out in all of those places. Thank you very much for being out here with us today. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Stephen. Looking forward to 40K. And this week, be on the lookout for a lot of social media coming from us. Follow on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, because there are going to be videos, there are going to be pictures, there are going to be updates, and I look forward to seeing where you guys are.
All right. Bye, everybody.
See you guys in a few days.
Thanks. See you in a few days.
Bye.